Good morning, Professor Ghatak. It's an absolute honor to have this opportunity to speak with you today. Thank you for taking the time to share your story and insights with us. You have been a teacher to generations, as I know, not just through the classrooms at IIT Delhi, but through your books that have educated thousands across India and beyond. Whether it's optics or quantum mechanics, students have grown up learning physics through your words, sir. In this conversation, we hope to trace the story behind that inspiring legacy, your early life, your love for science, your role as a teacher and mentor, and the thoughts that continue to guide you even today, sir.
Very glad to be here. Thank you, Metal. Thank you for inviting me for this discussion. I look forward to an engaging session with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's our privilege to have you here. Could you tell us about your early life, your family background, and the environment you grew up in?
Okay. Uh, I was born before independence, 8 years before independence.
Uh-huh.
So my early life was in 1940. I was born in 1939, and from 39 to 42, we were in Kolkata.
Mhm.
And my father was in the Alipur test house, and he did his DSc in organic chemistry, DSc from
Oh.
Allahabad University in 1935.
Mhm.
And the work that he was doing, then the lab that was he was involved with, eventually became CSIR, as you all know, Council of
Oh,
Scientific.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he was one of the founding members. There were 12 such people who were the
Oh.
first to join CSIR under the leadership of Professor S.S. Bhatnagar. So he
Mm.
was one of them. He has several papers with Professor S.S. Bhatnagar. And then, because of the Japanese bombing, the whole institute was shifted to Delhi. So the DSIR, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, under the British regime, British were still ruling India, so they went to Delhi. So my father also moved to Delhi. So from 1942 to 46, he worked in the CSIR laboratories, and that was then housed at the Delhi University campus, And then in 1946, he was offered the position of head of the chemical examiner's office in Agra.
Mm.
And at that time, I was, I think, 7 years old. So we moved to Agra, and my childhood, to the extent I remember, was spent in Agra, and my first schooling also there. So before that, I should mention that in 1946, I still remember
Mm.
Mahatma Gandhi was giving
Mm.
a lecture in Red Fort area,
Uh,
and my father had taken me there,
oh, okay.
and we saw him lecturing. Of course, I just vaguely remember that we saw Mahatma Gandhi from a distance. So I belong to that generation. So I am
That,
really, in a sense, prehistoric. So what happened was, so in 1947 January,
mhm.
because there was a lot of turmoil going on in the country. So my father admitted to a English medium school,
Mm.
and which was near our home in Agra, and then India became independent on
Mm.
15th August 1947, and there
Mm.
was a move that everything will be in Hindi.
Mm.
So I left that school in December of 1947, and for the next and I was in standard one, and
Okay.
for the next 6 months, my father had a tutor coming to my home who taught both myself and my elder sister,
Mm.
and Hindi and mathematics. That's
Okay.
it. Hindi and mathematics, and I knew English. So for 6 months I taught, and then my father in July 1948 took me to a school, Baptist Mission High School.
Mm.
And so there I was good in mathematics apparently, and good in English, good in Hindi.
Mm.
So my mother told a parent of my friend, we were going together to the school. It's a long walk.
Mm.
There is a nearby school. You see, these days people will go to very sophisticated, try to go put their children to the best school available. But
Yeah.
mother said that let him go to a nearby school, which was about 100 yards away.
Okay.
And you would not, if I tell you the full name of the school, you start laughing. It was a Hindi medium school, Shri Hubbalal Mathur Vaish Uchatar Madhyamik Vidyalaya.
Vidyalaya. Yeah.
But our teachers were very good, very
Oh,
motivated, and so from class 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, I was in that school.
okay.
And so, if I consider my life to be successful, so the school, of course, does matter, but
Mm.
you don't have to go to the best school in town. Is
Mm.
my advice to the younger parents. So we
Mm.
went to that school. We had good teachers, and we were also motivated to study. And so we studied. And on 10th class, I got a first division in the UP board. So then my father took me to Agra College, and I started studying science there. The thing that I want to mention is that there was no JEE, no NEET, no anything, no competitive examination. See, that
Mm.
is a very big thing that has happened recently. And there was
Mm.
no stress. There was no stress in.
Mm.
You just have to get a first divisions. That was 60%. 60%. My so my sister also joined the arts course in Agra College, my elder
Mm.
sister, and
Mm.
we used to both go together. And those 4 years, then 2 years in intermediate, 2 years in BSc, and 2 years in intermediate was all in Hindi medium. Was all in
Oh,
Hindi medium, and then
okay.
suddenly in the third year we went
Mm.
to English medium. So
Oh,
fortunately, because I knew English, the transition was not that difficult. But for some of my friends, it was quite difficult. But those 4 years in Agra College, you see, Agra College was established in 1823 by Gangadhar Shastri, Pandit Gangadhar Shastri. And
okay.
so it used to be, it is maybe still is, but I have lost touch. It is one of the very good colleges. Our teachers were excellent, really. And in a class of about 50 people, almost everyone will attend. We are very serious, very respectful to our teachers, and teachers were also very affectionate towards us. So I still remember, very fondly remember my 4 years at Agra College. And then I was so comfortable at the college, and my result was also right. So I wanted to continue my MSc. But my
Mm.
father knew Professor D.S. Kothari. I'm sure you have heard the name Professor D.S.
Yes.
Kothari. My father did MSc in chemistry. Professor D.S. Kothari did MSc in physics from Allahabad University. They were classmates together. And of
Oh,
course,
okay.
Professor D.S. Kothari had made a great name for himself,
Yeah.
and he was at Delhi University, head of the physics department. And so he said, no, you should try for that. So we just applied. I just applied and I got there. There was no jam. Now you have to appear in joint admission test. We used to live very close to Taj Mahal. And my
Oh.
father knew large number of people. So one
Mm.
of our guests was Professor Satyendranath Bose, S.N. Bose. So
Oh, okay.
he stayed. I still remember that. We
Uh-huh.
took him to Taj Mahal and
Okay.
we showed him around. And he came just to see Taj Mahal and stayed with us. My father knew him from his Allahabad days, and so he stayed with his family, with his wife and his daughter, one of his daughters, for 3 4 days or 2 3 days.
What was what was your age, sir, when he visited?
I think he came in 52 or
Mm.
53. So then I was 13 or so, 13,
Oh,
13
okay.
or 14, something like that.
Maybe too young to ask some questions on physics
No,
or
I didn't ask anything. He asked me. I still remember he asked me, what are you doing? I said, I am doing trigonometry. I still remember that. And he said,
uh,
what in trigonometry? And things. I don't know what I answered. But I did not know that he was such a great man. I
uh,
did not know that. But he was an extraordinary, simple man. He had an attire of a kurta. In
mm,
Bengali we call that Punjabi. in
mm,
small white kurta and a white, not a lungi kind of a thing, but some simple dress like that. And he would
mm,
go like that to everywhere and things like that. It was, I still remember that. Then when the first time later when I was in IIT, he was
mm,
visiting Delhi, I came to know, and then I went to him. He was staying in the CSIR guest house, and
mm,
he was associated with CSIR. So I went to him and I asked him that, can you come and meet our student? By that time, I knew that he was a great man, but I didn't take any photograph with him. That is my
oh,
regret. So he came and gave a lecture at that. We just kept looking at him and things like that.
mm,
So, so that was around 1953. Before, when I was in school, actually. So then
mm,
4 years of Agra College, and then so my father said, "You go to Delhi." So
mm,
my Mamaji was there, so I stayed with him for 3 years and
mm,
did my MSc. That was a great experience. We again had outstanding teachers like Professor D.S. Kothari,
mm,
Professor R.C. Majumdar, Professor
mm,
F.C. Olak. They were great human beings. This is
mm,
very men of extraordinary simplicity
mm,
and no greed for money, and
mm.
always, I mean, so simple. I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you.
Yeah,
Professor
yeah.
D.S. Kothari never owned a home, never owned a car, and
Oh,
he became the chairman of the University Grants Commission, but he never owned a car. He
mm,
would take a minimum salary and things like that. So he was a Gandhian. He was a Gandhian. And in fact, a commemorative stamp was issued in the name of Professor D.S. Kothari. It says something like that, that extraordinary, great educationist, great physicist, but at
mm,
the same time, simplicity at its height.
mm.
And you see, when we were taught, Professor D.S. Kothari taught us quantum mechanics, and Professor
Okay.
R.C. Majumdar also taught us quantum mechanics and nuclear physics. And one of his pet statements was that, what is the difference between quantum mechanics and nuclear physics? Nothing. Nuclear
Mm,
physics is just application of quantum mechanics. And we still remember that.
mm,
And then, so we had a great time. There were five of us from past course. We came from Agra, and the honors course was slightly higher. So we had a difficult time. We had a very
mm,
difficult time in coping up with advanced topics that were discussed in the honors program. But
mm,
we managed. I did well. And then everyone, all our seniors were going abroad for doing their
mm,
PhD. So I
mm,
joined for 1 year with Professor N.K. Saha in experimental nuclear physics. That was 1959 July, that I told him that I'm applying abroad. I will work in your lab and do it. And one experiment we did on
mm,
thermal neutron scattering, and we got a
mm.
small paper published also with another student, Mr. Gurbakh Singh, who later moved to University of Maryland. And
Mhm.
so that was 1959 to 60. And then I
Mm,
applied for to 11 places, I still remember, and I got selected in five, and with assistantship. No, again, no SAT, no nothing.